This is Radio Taiwan International.
Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Hannah Belinsky coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Wednesday, November 5th. Taiwan not a bargaining chip in U.S.-China talks, says Foreign Minister. Taiwan to boost international cooperation after repeated submarine cable damage, and registration for universal cash handout officially open. But first, today's top story. Foreign Minister Lin Jialong said on Wednesday that Taiwan was not discussed during the October 30th meeting between United States President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping, dismissing speculations that Taiwan had become a bargaining chip in U.S.-China relations. Lin informed lawmakers that Taiwan's absence demonstrated effective communication between Taipei and Washington, reflecting the stability and continuity of U.S. policy towards Taiwan. During his speech at the legislature, Lin highlighted that American officials have consistently reiterated their support for Taiwan. He noted that the Trump-Xi meeting did not address any Taiwan-related issues, further underscoring that Taipei is regarded as an important economic and trade partner of the United States rather than a negotiable topic.
In the past, some people have manipulated so-called abandon Taiwan or doubt America narratives. But after President Trump visited Asia, his participation in ASEAN or APEC meetings, and the Trump-Xi summit, I believe it has become much clearer that President Trump's policy toward Taiwan remains steady. Nothing unexpected happened this time because of the strong communication between Taiwan and the United States.
Lin also confirmed for the first time that he attended events in New York during the United Nations General Assembly in September, calling it a major step forward as it marked the first time a Taiwanese foreign minister had visited during the UNGA period. He said the ministry would continue to counter cognitive warfare and strengthen media literacy after CNN reported that no U.S. officials attended the event, although many influential American and international figures were present. Taiwan's digital ministry will strengthen international cooperation to protect undersea cables following repeated incidents of illegal damage, Minister Lin Yi-ching said this Wednesday. Lawmaker Li Kun-ze urged the ministry to use advanced technologies to improve evidence collection, noting legal limitations under international maritime law make accountability and compensation challenging. The legislature's Transportation Committee, chaired by Li, reviewed amendments to several maritime-related laws, including the Commercial Port Act, Shipping Act, Meteorological Act, and Telecommunications Management Act. The revisions aim to prevent illegal destruction of submarine cables by foreign vessels operating near Taiwan's waters. Lin said the ministry will adopt a three-part approach based on prevention, rapid response, and accountability. Preventive action will include surveillance and early warnings, while operators such as Zhonghua Telecom will be required to report incidents immediately. The ministry also plans to enhance backup systems through microwave and satellite links and ensure operators join the International Cable Protection Committee for Joint Defense. Citing data from the National Security Bureau, Li said Taiwan's submarine cables were damaged 7 to 8 times annually between 2019 and 2023, mostly by Chinese sand dredgers, fishing boats, and cargo ships.
Because the evidence is insufficient, it is difficult to determine whether the damage was intentional, related to a vessel's nationality, or caused by a captain unable to pay compensation. To address this, we need to conduct detailed surveys of cable locations, set different protection levels based on depth and environment, adopt real-time fiber optic monitoring, and use ROVs for underwater imaging to preserve visual evidence.
Li also recommended establishing mechanisms for ship and asset seizure to improve Taiwan's ability to seek compensation.
Hi, I'm Amanda Stevens, host of Tales of Our Time, a show where we discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so meaningful, and why others could or should find meaning in them as well. We tackle books, movies, podcasts, and more. Where there's a story, there's a reason to read. Catch us every Thursday at Radio Taiwan International or on our website at english.rti.org.tw.
As of Wednesday, registration for the government's 10,000 NT universal cash handout is open. For the first 5 days, registration will be prioritized based on the last digit of the recipient's ID number. On November 10th, registration will be fully open, and funds may be received as early as November 12th. Economic Minister Gong Mingxin stated in an interview at the legislature that it should have a positive effect and expressed his hope that people would not use the handout simply to replace their usual daily expenses. He said the Economic Ministry has launched accompanying promotional campaigns in Taiwan's shopping districts to encourage people to travel more and stimulate domestic demand. Gong himself said he plans to take his family on a trip after receiving the 10,000 NT. The Directorate General of Budget Accounting and Statistics has released a preliminary estimate of 7.64% economic growth for the third fiscal quarter and projected full-year growth of at least 5%. Regarding this, Gong said the government had already expected annual growth to hit 5%, adding that the final figure might even exceed expectations. Japan's defense minister and foreign minister both expressed support for Taiwan this week at meetings with Chinese officials. Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi said Japan told China that Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's APEC meeting with Taiwan's Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation envoy, Lin Yi-ching, did not violate its government's official stance, while Defense Minister Shinjiro Koizumi reiterated the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. When Prime Minister Takaichi posted photos to social media of her meeting with Taiwan's envoy Lin at the APEC forum last week, she was met with condemnation from the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This Tuesday, Foreign Minister Motegi stated that Japanese leaders have had multiple meetings with Taiwanese representatives in previous APEC sessions. He emphasized that the meeting does not violate their agreement to maintain non-governmental and practical relations with Taiwan. Koizumi attended the ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting Plus in Malaysia on November 2nd. It was during his meeting with Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun that he emphasized the need for peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. 2 days later, at a press conference following a cabinet meeting, Koizumi once again reaffirmed Japan's official stance. He stated that Taiwan and Japan have very close economic and people-to-people ties, describing Taiwan as an important partner and dear friend of Japan. Koizumi said Japan's defense ministry and its self-defense forces will continue to work to maintain regional peace and stability, while also ensuring Japan's independence and peace, and protecting the lives and livelihoods of its people. Nearly 1,000 pilgrims took part in a rare 5-day religious pilgrimage in Pingdong, southern Taiwan, carrying the revered Mazu statue up Mount Beida'u, which rises 3,092 meters above sea level.
Dubbed the centennial meeting of the mountain god and the sea goddess, the event drew crowds of worshippers whose procession stretched for several kilometers amid the sound of drums and gongs. Led by 102 seasoned hikers, the group set off from Tuesday, November 4th, to Saturday, November 8th, trekking more than 100 kilometers on foot. Devotees cheered as the Aho Mazu departed, following her through streets and mountain trails. One participant said, "We're doing this to honor Mazu. Our whole family joined and trained for days leading up to it. It feels amazing to accomplish something together," another climber said. "It's a special experience. Climbing now feels not just like a sport, but an act of faith. Our Mazu is incredible." Organized by the Aho Mazu Cultural Foundation, the event was described as a blend of faith, nature, and cultural harmony. The foundation's chairman, Zheng Jingyuan, said, "Mazu has never traveled to our highest sacred mountain before. We want this to be an exchange of culture with the Paiwan and Rukai people." The pilgrimage symbolized unity between land and sea, belief and tradition, and century-old spectacle of devotion and endurance. Phil Laskowski for RTI News.
Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Hannah Belinsky. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.